If you are a B2B business and you sell products online, there is going to come a day when your marketing is not working. That's what I want to talk about today. We put together 10 steps that you can take anytime your marketing isn't working for your B2B e-commerce business. They'll help you figure out what's going on and what you can do to fix that scenario. So before I dive into the 10 steps, there are a couple assumptions that I just want to clarify. First, this process assumes that you are a successful B2B e-commerce business. You sell products online, you have other distribution channels, and you've been able to grow to the $1 to $10 million range. You probably also have some kind of a sales team or a customer service team, and then your customer's buying process is going to be more than 24 hours. So this guide isn't necessarily for those companies that run a meta ad, get a click, sell a product then and there. This process is for B2B companies who sell more expensive products, typically over $1,000, who have accounts that they manage. And then this also assumes that you have some kind of diversified marketing mix, meaning you have a website, you have search ads, you have content, SEO, organic content, you're running paid ads, display ads, doing email marketing. You have multiple marketing channels like you should. With those assumptions in mind, let's go through the 10 steps to take when your marketing's not working. Always start with the data, and the things that you should be looking at are your month-over-month sales, leads, and website traffic. But you also need to be looking at current quarter versus last quarter, and then especially the current month and the current quarter compared to last year. There's always going to be fluctuations in your sales and leads. The important thing to remember is they should be growing over time. There will never be a scenario where an established business always has more leads and sales every single month. You need to figure out if there is a decrease in sales and leads and traffic. And then you also need to figure out if this decrease is enough to warrant making changes to your marketing mix. Once you get a good mix in place and you have a good strategy, there will be ups and downs, but you need to figure out, is this the kind of up or down that requires a drastic change in your marketing? Or do you kind of just keep going with what you're doing, find the small tweaks, and then wait a minute to see if the market's going to change or if things are going to bounce back up? So make sure you look at the data, and you need to right size the problem and figure out if it's actually a problem. The second step is to audit your systems. This is a simple power off, power on, unplug, replug it in type of approach. Look at your website, make sure your website is working, make sure your add to cart button works, make sure your lead forms work, make sure you are getting the leads into your CRM or into your sales team's hands. Just make sure everything is working as it should. Maybe there's like a server outage, or maybe your website's down, you run into a DNS issue, or maybe you've ran out of budget on one of your key advertising channels. There's just a lot of things that that could really just stop working and break the process. So always audit your systems as if you were a customer. Look at everything personally, turn it off and on, so to speak. Make sure it's running correctly, make sure it's firing, and just make sure there's no silly things that aren't working correctly. The next thing you should check is individual channel metrics. What I mean is check how many sales you are getting from each avenue. Look at your website, figure out which traffic sources are down or which traffic sources have changed. Are you getting the same number of sales from your paid search traffic, organic traffic, or any other channel? Are your products all selling as you would expect? Or is there maybe one product line that is underperforming and dragging your overall metrics down? You need to break down the issue into smaller components so you can figure out if there's a single problem and you can get very specific and fix one channel or fix one product line, or if there's just kind of a general decrease in everything, then you need to do a bigger adjustment to make that change. The fourth thing to check is your follow-up. And this is especially important for B2B companies because a lot of sales happen through a sales team. A lead comes in on the website, or a customer even starts a purchase, adds a product to their cart, and then they don't complete it. You should have some kind of a follow-up process in place to reach out to that customer and figure out what you need to do to close that sale. If you have leads come in that need to be responded to, this is also a key thing to check for a B2B business. What is your response time on these leads? How long are you engaging with the leads? Are they getting the necessary follow-up to nurture them from lead to purchase? If you have a CRM, there's lots of metrics you can check in there. You can check performance for salespeople, for teams, for lead sources. Just break it down further and figure out what is decreasing, what is not decreasing, and just further kind of narrow down the issue. The fifth thing to check is check for internal bottlenecks. Now, I've seen this happen before when someone asked me what we can do to fix the marketing. I went through the process, I checked the data, I audited everything, I checked the follow-up, I checked the sales process, anything after the marketing happened. And ultimately what I discovered was that the department's capacity to sell a product or a service was limited because of staffing. So I had this team come to me saying, our marketing's not working, we got to spend more money, we got to try something different, like we got to figure something out. When I looked into it, I realized like, hey, you can't sell anymore. Like you are at your capacity. So like the marketing is fulfilling your capacity. So if you spent more money, you're just going to spend money to attract customers that you then cannot serve. So we don't want to do that. And what ended up happening was we just waited a little bit for another staff member to be hired. And then that capacity opened up. And then we revisited the marketing. So internal bottlenecks can make it feel like marketing's not working, but you have to just diagnose the issue because you don't want to change good marketing when it is working just because there's an internal bottleneck. Another very common internal bottleneck is inventory and supply issues. If your products are out of stock, you're not going to get leads on them. You're obviously not going to get purchases. So make sure you check your inventory status over the whole time period when you feel like your marketing's not working, because that will have a significant impact on the results of your marketing. The sixth step that you're going to take is looking at your messaging. And this is your offer, your promotions, your value propositions, your calls to action, and anything else that is communicating your product or service to your customers. In order to look at your messaging, you need to also look at the market. What is your competition saying? What are they proposing for the value of their products? What offers do they have as a discount or a promotion? Just revisit the message that you're putting out across your channels, your paid search copy, your website, your emails, your meta ads, your social content, all of that. You want to have consistency and clarity, and you want to address your customer's issue. You should always treat your marketing just like a sales process, right? Understand the customer's needs, connect with them where they're at, and tailor your message to specifically what they're looking for. It is so easy for businesses to put out advertisements and to put out marketing that just talk about how great they are. One of the trends where I live is billboards that talk about employees as a superhero that can do their job very well. Sometimes it's eye-catching and it's interesting, but that doesn't matter to me. I don't care that a random stranger is a superhero. I've got a problem with my furnace and I need to know who can fix it. If I feel like that business is ignoring my problem and they're just so focused on themselves, I am less likely to work with them. I want to work with a business that understands my problem and that cares about fixing my problem more than they care about how good they look. The seventh step has always been a core component in marketing, even before digital marketing really came into play. And this is talking to real customers. A lot of times when you talk to customers, you'll realize what influenced them to buy. You'll figure out the process they went through to discover your brand, to consider your products, and to actually make a purchase or submit a lead. So the more customers you talk to, the more just data you get on what of your marketing is working and what really matters to customers. A great way to do this, again, if you're a B2B e-commerce business, you have other businesses that are buying for their work, right? You have people that are buying for their business. It is so natural to just give them a call or send them an email and say, hey, thanks for your business. Can I ask you a couple questions about your experience buying from us? Or give them a call, just chat them up, use the sales skills that you have, and just ask about their experience and ask about their perception of your marketing. When you talk to customers, you'll understand what is important to them. When you talk to customers, they will tell you exactly how to market to them. So listen, ask questions, and just gather insights from your existing customers and even customers who didn't buy from you. That is all golden information that you can then use to improve your marketing. Step number 8 is to simplify your strategy. This doesn't mean canceling channels and reducing your marketing efforts. Remember, you want to have a diversified marketing mix. You want search, social, display, email, video. You want everything running, but your strategy for the next month or the next quarter can be simplified. What this means is pick 1 or 2 channels and invest in improving and expanding the performance of those channels. Right now, SEO and LLM marketing is a huge deal. So this might be a way that you can simplify your strategy for the next couple months to capture an opportunity and a challenge. There are some high cost marketing channels that you may want to pause as you're simplifying your strategy. If you are making lots of expensive videos, or if you're running large campaigns for like awareness or on more experimental channels, these could be some things that you want to pause for the time being to simplify to some of the core channels. It is a great idea to always start with the low-hanging fruit. I like to call this demand capture. If there is a lead source for your product, that is something that you want to market to almost perfectly. If people are looking on Google for a product you sell, you want to show up 80 to 90% of the time. If you have a third-party industry website where customers are shopping and your products show up, this is something that you want to go all in on and get this established, because when you show up to those customers, you are showing up exactly when they are looking for you and when they're open to hearing what you have to offer. Step number 9 is a little more advanced, and it is review your infrastructure and tracking. So in step 1, you looked at your data to kind of quantify what's going on. So when you review your infrastructure and tracking, you're looking at your data itself to see, is it quality? Is there some tracking issue? Or is there something like technical that isn't working in your marketing system? There could be something that your marketing channels use to perform that's broken. And this could be like a data feed or an inventory feed for some companies. Step number 10 is to rebuild the whole unified plan. After you've diagnosed all of the steps and the components of your overall marketing, this is where you might need to take action to kind of reorganize and restructure what you're doing. It's very helpful to look at the customer journey as you're rebuilding your overall plan. Start from bottom on up, right? Where do customers purchase your product? How do they purchase your product? Get that rolling, get that converting, make sure that people are purchasing when they're ready to purchase. Then go one step up. How are they finding you when they're looking to make a purchase? How are you doing with your demand capture channels where you can and should get those leads? Are you getting all the leads that you could through paid search, through organic traffic, through like business listing sites, other kind of shopping platforms? Get the leads that already exist before trying to generate new leads. After you really have your demand capture channels down, then that's when you start investing in like awareness ads. It's good to have some kind of awareness ads going long term, but awareness ads drive demand capture. So if you're investing all kinds of money in just building awareness, trying to stay top of mind, but you're not capturing leads, you could ultimately be driving awareness for your competitors. Another thing that a lot of businesses miss in their unified marketing plan is the retention part of their business. If you're in B2B e-commerce, a lot of your clients are probably making repeat purchases from you. This means the lifetime value of that customer is probably way higher than that initial purchase. You should be nurturing that customer and supporting them after they make that initial purchase because they are so much more likely to make another purchase from you. A lot of times this is done through email and SMS, promotions, accessory sales, upsells, etc. This can also be done by creating content and putting out social media posts and website articles to help those customers. Say you sell a customer a product. After they have it, is there anything else they might need to know about it? Is there maybe another way that they could be using your product to get added value? These are all things that you could do to market to them, to keep selling your product to them, keep them satisfied with your product, keep building that excitement and affinity for your product. This does two things. First, it makes that customer so much more likely to come back to you and purchase a product. Second, it makes that customer that much more likely to recommend your product to someone else. Both of these are very low-hanging fruit for marketing and for growth. Those are 10 steps that we recommend every business take when their marketing isn't working. Write down these steps, remember them, and the next time you feel like your marketing isn't working, just start at number 1 and then go through to number 10. You might not get through the whole list before you figure out an issue, or maybe you don't even get through the whole list before your marketing just starts working again. But this is a great framework that you can always use to figure out how to take that next step in your marketing. If you have any further questions or if you want a team to help you manage these steps, reach out to us and let's have a conversation.